Uh-oh, just pulled a silent but deadly. Hope nobody notices. Ugh, Havok, you reek. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Today, we're taking a look at the leader of X Factor and Cyclops' baby brother, the Marvel Legends Bonebreaker Wave Havok. Starting off with the packaging, and Havok comes in a big Marvel Legends window box. Enjoy it while you can. Nice classic X-Men logo down here, spot varnished X up top, UPC for those who want it, and a pretty awesome picture on the back. It's bright and colorful and shows off his energy rings. Alex Summers, aka Havok, fires superheated plasma from his hands to devastating effect. A veteran hero and leader, he longs to step out of his older brother Cyclops' shadow. The build-a-figure for this wave is Bonebreaker, and the other available figures include Wolverine, Sabretooth, Darwin, Maggot, Vulcan, and a siren that looks suspiciously like Amber Heard. Hey Amber, if you sue Hasbro, you might be able to afford to pay Johnny. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Havok. And for packaging, Havok gets 1 whole point. Moving on to presentation, and to the top of his scalp, Havok stands at 6 1/4 inches. First things first, this is actually the Sunfire body mold. It's one we've seen a cajillion times and should be pretty familiar with. It's mostly also just a solid black body, and there isn't really a whole lot to say about it. The only new piece is the head. The paintwork is very crisp and the features have been printed on. We see the determination in his piercing blue eyes and also his blonde eyebrows. And then looking at the profile, we can see his ears kind of pushing out of the sides. The most striking thing about Havok's design is his headband. As you can see, it's bedazzled in the middle. Not gonna lie, I have no idea if this serves any actual function, but it's a small flourish that does make him unique. Otherwise, the only other thing to make him really pop is his logo. It's a series of white and blue rings which have also been printed on. You can tell because of the pixels around the edge. It does give it a nice soft glowy effect. Otherwise, it's just a simple black body mold. That said, out of all the medium build Marvel Legend male bodies, this one is actually my favorite buck. Honestly, I don't really understand why this didn't replace Bucky Cap a long time ago. When it comes to superhero costumes, it doesn't really get much simpler than Havok. Black bodysuit, relatively nondescript symbol if we're being honest, and a little extra razzmatazz up top. Between this and his 90s costume, which one do you prefer? Sound off in the comments below. As for me, I prefer a simple design that leaves the focus on the visualization of his powers, but more on that during playability. For presentation, I'm giving Havok 1 whole point. Moving on to posability, which in about a minute you're going to discover is a lie, and Havok comes with all the articulation that comes with the Sunfire body mold. His head's in a ball joint and a disc hinge. Unencumbered by any kind of hair or collar, he can look up this much, and he can look all the way down. A little bit of tilt, and all the way around. Moving on down, and Havok has swivel hinge shoulders that raise up 90 degrees. He also has a butterfly joint, flexes forward this far, and flexes back this far. Traveling down the arm, and he has bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and swivel hinge wrists. They can hinge up this far, and down this far. Shifting to the torso, and Alex has an ab crunch and a waist swivel. He can arch back this far, and hunch over this far. And of course, he can twist side to side. Below the waist, and Havok has ball jointed hips. They can kick forward a little bit over 90 degrees, and they can split 90 degrees. He also has thigh cut, double jointed knees, boot cut, and Marvel Legends ankles that can hinge and pivot. As I said during presentation, the Sunfire body mold is my favorite standard Marvel Legends buck. And again, the nice thing about this figure in particular is the lack of any other bits and bobs to get in the way of articulation. For a character who's going to be mainly just standing on my shelf blasting characters away with his power effects, he's got more articulation than he needs, but I'm really grateful that he has it. For posability, I'm giving Havok 1 whole point. Before we continue, if you like this video, do me a favor and give it a like. I put a lot of love into my videos, and your likes really do help more people to see them. Moving on to playability, and I am so excited for this part that I decided to film it before presentation and posability. What's got me so excited? These energy effects. This is the kind of thing that I always want to see, and to finally be getting it has me over the moon. First things first, we got this big one, pegs into his back like so, and then we have these 2 hand ones. To put those on, take his hand off, slide the effect over his wrist, and pop them back on. These are very similar to energy effects created by Instagram user Can of Beams. Putting it all together, and I absolutely love this. I don't love it so much that I don't have one minor criticism, but I do genuinely genuinely, deeply, wholeheartedly love it and want to see more of it. So then what could I possibly complain about? I really wish that the wrist holes were smaller and a bit more snug. You've really got to shove them back there. On the other hand, they make for a great fidget spinner. He also comes with these gas tanks for Bonebreaker. You can see the peg hole cleverly hidden amongst gunshots. Nice little hinge up here. The nice thing is, if you're like me and don't really plan on finishing Bonebreaker, they can make for some really nice props and action figure photography. Also, if you'd like an unmasked version of Alex, may I suggest the alternate Steve Rogers head that came with the 20th anniversary Captain America. Obviously, there are a lot of other unmasked blonde heads you could choose from. Putting these two side by side, however, and the similarities are pretty striking. But playability is more than just accessories, it's also about how well your figure plays with others. Side note, I'm actually pretty excited because I very seldom get to show off my X-Men collection. For some 60s through 80s era X-Men, here we have Professor Xavier. This is the floating chair version, but the wheelchair is a wrestling accessory. For his brother, Scott Slim Summers, here we have the Dark Phoenix 2-pack and the retro card. For some Wolverines, and here we have the 80 Years 2-pack, the Love Triangle 3-pack, and the retro card Brown and Orange. For a couple of Storms, and here we have the Thunderbird 2-pack, and pardon me for moving the camera, but I did not have enough room for that glorious mohawk. Here we have Nightcrawler, Shadowcat from the Excalibur 3-pack, Dazzler, retro card Iceman, Sunfire, of course the two share the same body, and Thunderbird. Here he is with Beast, Colossus from the 80 Years Juggernaut 2-pack, and Colossus by Marvel Select. For some Jean Greys, and here she is as Marvel Girl, Dark Phoenix, and the Black Queen. This segues perfectly to other villains, including the White Queen, Sebastian Shaw, Magneto, Mystique, Pyro, who also uses the same body, Arcade, Mr. Sinister, and Juggernaut from the 80 Years Colossus 2-pack, and Marvel Select. For the only other Havok in my collection, here's the original figure by Toy Biz, and for Havok's father, here he is with Corsair. Here he is with the Dogs of War. For a relative scale comparison, here he is with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. Creative fans and the custom community have been making effects like this for years, but between this and the recent spinning Mjolnir, it's nice to see Hasbro finally getting with the program. Hopefully, Havok is just the beginning and we're going to be seeing a lot more of this, but in the meantime, I'm pretty happy. And having worn this costume from the late 60s to the early 90s, there are decades of displays you can put him in. For playability, I'm giving this Havok 1 whole point. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. I pre-ordered Havok at BigBadToyStore.com for $25, and he should be hitting shelves right around now. Obviously, the main draw for this figure are the energy effects, and they are awesome. They add a lot of value to the figure that Hasbro could no doubt afford thanks to the reuse and limited paint apps. Throw in the tanks from Bonebreaker that I can use for figure photography, and this is the first time in a while that a Marvel Legend has made me feel like I was getting my money's worth. For a price, I'm giving Havok 1 whole point for a grand total of 5 out of 5. For more X-Men related content, check out this video on Arcade or the action figure evolution of Storm. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.